The battle over how much to spend on schools in Wisconsin hits the state legislature today, and with it, which schools will benefit? Naomi Coles joins us from the Capitol with more. Naomi?
There's state spending and there's federal aid. Now, because of COVID, that last piece is far higher than it's ever been in the past for schools in Wisconsin, but it can only be spent on pandemic-related issues. How some of it gets divided up, that was the subject of a lot of debate at the State House today. Another day, another dollar in state capital budget talks.
Okay, we'll call the Joint Committee on Finance to order.
Today, school funding.
We'll have the clerk call the roll.
As promised, Republican leaders plan to send part of the federal school aid that they control to reward schools that stayed at least 50% open for in-person learning during COVID.
It's important that we recognize and support those districts that have remained open throughout the pandemic.
Democrats say calculating those in-person hours means uncertainty for school budgets until the fall, and it doesn't reflect the pandemic's different impacts on different schools.
That process is going to result in some real inequities, some real winners and losers. It doesn't really make any sense. Some of these communities had spikes in spread. What are you supposed to do when the rate of infection was rising in the fall?
Number one topic at all my listening sessions in my district: how children were harmed by the school closures.
State spending proposals include a $150 million increase for K-12 in this budget, which is far less than the governor wanted. Plus, it sets aside $350 million that they hope the next legislature will designate for schools in upcoming budgets. That $150 million is all designated for categories like special education, mental health, and transportation. There's no increase for general spending, which Republicans say is because of the billions in federal COVID aid.
This guarantee alone constitutes the largest single infusion of cash that many of our schools have ever seen.
Aid that Democrats say may be in jeopardy if Republicans don't spend more on schools.
This is dangling hundreds of millions of dollars over the heads of school districts saying, come and get it, and then snatching it away from them because they don't know.
It's not clear yet whether Wisconsin lawmakers are increasing their school spending enough to keep that billions in federal aid. The federal government has requirements of how much states have to spend in order to get that money, and $150 million is not enough. Republican leaders said today in the meeting that they aren't sure yet whether their plan will make the cut.
All right, we'll see what happens. Naomi at the Capitol. Naomi, thank you.